Reverse the four. The paycheck from
I didn't know. These are fourth grade class. It's me. My daughter read a couple of them tonight. Saved, like I was told Tammy, I saved the best one for last.
Todd and I've been there twice.
You are the best mayor, and I hope you will stay the mayor forever. P.S.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. You get another? Yeah.
Send $1 for that.
What does this mean? What's up?
Somebody's going to be.
Presentation or?
I'm not sure who's.
Oh.
Someone is.
It's the first.
1 minute. Right. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
like,
I suppose it's.
it wouldn't have mattered. How would you just? Sometimes I'll ride the house 7 minutes or like 9 minutes to eat.
Gotcha. And then can people ask questions?
But it's just a thing. Well, let's go ahead. All right, we'll go ahead and call to order the council meeting of the East Grand Forks City Council for Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. Would the city administrator please call roll?
Mayor Mark Olsted.
Here.
Council President Brian Larson.
Here.
Council Vice President Tim Riepel.
Here.
Council members Tammy Schumacher.
Here.
Ben Pokshavinsky.
Here.
Dale Helms. Donald Kazemi. Karen Peterson.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start with the recognition of the retirement of George Weber from the Public Works Department. Mr. Stordahl. Mr. Weber.
So yeah, tonight we're acknowledging George Weber. He's been with the city of East Grand Forks for 41 plus years of service and was a huge asset to the department in many ways. A lot of snow removal, a lot of keeping the streets clean, arenas clean, you name it. Flood control, many more things before my time here as well. But I'd like to congratulate you, George, and give you this plaque as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, welcome. It's been
After 2/3 of my life working there.
It's finally time to rest. Spend some time with my family. Hockey around the state of Minnesota. But I
Take a picture,
appreciate
Jason.
the opportunity to work with you guys. You know, and all the previous council, had a lot of friends on the previous council, and it was a lot of fun.
Keep talking, Joe.
You know me, how much I like to talk. Thank you. Yeah, I had pretty good times with majority of the councils through the years. Some were tougher than others, but Henry was kind of demanding at times.
Imagine that.
Yeah, the mayors have been real good. Lynn and Dr. Gander, now Mark. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work in the early years where we did most of everything manually, but eventually it started to get easier, but it's time to be done. Thank you for your hospitality and whatever that would be.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Weber, for all your service to the city. We greatly appreciate it. Okay, we'll move into open forum. Open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research in future council agendas if appropriate. Would anybody here like to speak to open forum?
You're here to do the truth and taxation. That'll come up in a little bit here. If you're going to do that,
Yeah.
you'll have an opportunity.
Yep, there will be an opportunity to speak to the truth and taxation portion here, and we'll get to that shortly. Anyone else like to speak to open forum for items not on the current agenda? Okay, I see none. We'll move into the approval of minutes. We'll be seeking approval of the minutes for the November 18th council meeting and the November 18th closed session.
Move.
Moved by Riepel,
Second.
second by Peterson. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Peterson,
Yes.
Schumacher,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Scheduled bid lettings this week, there are none. Scheduled public hearings. Item number 3, truth and taxation hearing on preliminary tax levy of 12%. So here we'd be looking for a motion to move into public hearing.
Move.
Moved by Pakshavinsky, second by Riepel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. We're now in the public hearing for the truth and taxation meeting. If anybody would like to,
Maybe Miss Anderson has a presentation. Maybe have
ahead, Carla.
her present and then comments after that.
that'd be just fine. So, okay. Go ahead, Carla.
Thank you, Council President, Mayor, and Council. So this is the truth and taxation hearing, and this is required by state law to be held between like November 15th and December 30th. So this is the truth and taxation hearing. The purpose of the meeting is to review the 2026 city budget and the proposed tax levy. And right now, the preliminary levy is at 12%. And we are also going to look at historical and comparative information and answer questions. So on the screen here, you can see what we've been working on as a budget. So on the left is the revenue sources, and on the right is the expenditures, and there's a comparative for 2025. We do have this spreadsheet in some of the documents in our agenda. However, I couldn't get 20, 23, and 24 on the slide. So we do have, from our last meeting, these would be part of our agenda for the last meeting. So if you look on here, the property tax levy at 12% would collect $856,000 $1,557 more than we collected last year. And then there's other revenue sources. Some of them are up, franchise fees up. Some of the other ones have gone down. So fines and forfeitures, intergovernmental charges for service, and other financing sources of revenue have gone down. So on the right, we have an expenditures, and these are broken out by the different class of expenditures or departments. So we have general government, we have police, fire, other public safety, public works,
Excuse me,
recreation.
Carla?
Yes.
I know they're trying to see this, and there's distortions and such. You can't see any of the numbers. They're
It's all glitchy over there.
That's Corey on the back hand, not me.
okay. I'm just
Yes, I understand.
bringing it to your attention.
Yeah.
Same thing's going on over there.
There'll be another slide where we will see more in a pie shape, so it'll be kind of easier to see. So if you look through these, most of them gone up a little bit, and then under capital outlay and other uses, most of them have gone up. Some of them, actually most of them, some of them have gone down. So in capital outlay, recreation and culture, we went down, and that's because we purchased equipment last year, and we're not purchasing as much this year. Debt service, we do have a debt from Water's Edge, which is, but we have money in other debt service funds that we'll be using to make that payment instead of having the general fund pay it. Okay, so now this is a pie shape, so you can see that most of revenue comes from the property tax levy. 54.8% comes from that. And then if you look in the pie chart, after that we have intergovernmental, which the largest amount is our local government aid. That's part of that intergovernmental. And then we do have a few other state and federal grants that include in that pie. And then we have franchise fees. It's the same thing as that we talked about in the last screen. So on the next screen, I'm showing what the difference is from 25 to 26. So the difference between 2025 and 2026 as a whole between the increases and decreases is $396,994. And then again, you can see the property tax increase is 12%, is $856,557. We have the franchise and other taxes. We have the intergovernmental charges for service, fine and forfeits, other revenues, other financing sources. So if you look on the last line in the red, the 2025 fund balance, this is the amount we budgeted last year, and we took it out of our fund balance instead of increasing our tax levy. So for the taxpayers, the preliminary levy was higher than the levy at the year end, which that's by law, you have to do that. And the council decided instead of raising that levy, the whole amount, that they took fund balances to balance the budget last year of $478,318. And if anybody has questions, you can go ahead and ask me anytime. Yes.
I don't mind going back a couple slides. That's where I last
Sure.
slide. It was the initial breakdown of monies.
This one?
Yeah, two questions. Where does Parks and Rec fall into that? Is that the same as for recreation and culture?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and that, yes.
What is other public safety?
Okay, other public safety, we have traffic control, like would be signs and stuff. It's actually in public works. And we also have building inspections. Well, we tried to hire a public building inspector and could not find one. So we do hire a company to do that. We've actually hired a company now for about 5 years. Because by law we have to have a building inspector. They have to inspect. You have to buy a permit, and then they go inspect the project that's been done.
That being double the price of all your purchase services combined.
Yes, we have tried.
What's the amount?
For other public safety, it's 14%. Fire and police together are individually 7%.
Okay,
but we're only paying them about $67,000 a year, and we make about $60,000 in permits. So I don't know what that number is, what else is detailed.
I think that wouldn't make much sense. I'm pretty sure you're paying all your EMS services are certainly making more than $60,000 combined.
No, I was just talking about building permits.
Oh, gotcha.
The other public safety, it's $289,000.
Okay, yeah, that would be more than just building.
Yes, it's a combination of a few of them. And I can go through that in detail if you want. I do have a spreadsheet that breaks all of that down. We just, we're summarizing these just for purposes to see as a whole.
So I'm not understanding the matchup between the percentages and the dollar amounts. I mean, the other public safety, the amount is $36,000 at
That's the
14%.
increase.
Yes, that's a percent increase.
Gotcha.
And since it's a smaller amount to start with, the increase is more because just because of the size.
I thought it was the percentage of the budget as a whole. So that's.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, that's fine. Thank you. Any other questions or on this slide? Sorry about the additional colors. Okay, so this was the last slide we're on. Anybody have questions on this slide? So like I said, if you look at the fund balance that we use to budget, to get our budget to, by law, you have to have your budget balance. So we use $478,318 in 2025 to budget it. So when you look at the increase of the 12%, majority of that is covering our fund balance that we used last year, just so you're all aware of that. So now I broke it down a little bit more. You can see where the general fund as a whole, we have personnel services, supplies, other charges, capital outlay, and transfers out. So on this, I have 4 years of data there. So we have two actual for 2023 and 2024. 2025 is not complete, so they're not actual numbers there. But the change is only from 2025 to 2026. So personnel services, the increase is 8.2%. So that is salary and wages, that's benefits, that's health insurance, which would include health insurance and such. And then supplies has only gone up 2.1% from 2025. Other charges is 1.3%. Capital outlay went down and transfers out went down. So as a whole for the general fund and expenses, it's a difference of 4.6%. And then there's a pie chart in the bottom. So you can see that personnel is 64% of our expenditures. So the next slide here is on our personnel services, and those are broken down by departments. And then there's a pie chart to show just some colors. Sometimes it's easier to see in a chart than there is on actual table. So if you look, public safety is 56% of the personnel budget, and then recreation culture is at 14.6%. And then Public Works is 11.8.
What is the difference between public works and culture and recreation and culture?
So Public Works is our streets and all those expenses tied with the streets. So general fund expenses from 25 to 26, the increase is $647,663. Of that, most of it is personnel costs of $718,193, and then supplies went up a little over 12. Other charges was about $43,000. Capital outlay was a decrease, and transfers out was a decrease. So, and the capital outlay changes I have on there: police went down 34%, $34,000. Parks went down $47,500. Public Works went up $10,000, and fire went up $13,000 from last year. And last year, fire went up $13,000 because they didn't have any purchases last year. So transfers out include changes of debt service, which I had talked about. We had a savings of $120,000 there. However, transit went up $74,690. So I'm sure most of you all are here because their property values have varied from last year to this year. They've increased. So property value determines their taxable payable. So the county assessor determines the value based on property sales. So what they'll look at the market value of your property, and they will look at sales within that same range and what the sales were for those properties. And then they will increase those properties to match the sales of like homes. And if the county doesn't do that, then the state will come in and actually raise your values higher. So that's why the county does it. Otherwise, the state will say, we're going to come in and raise them up to 110%, where the county says it's between 90 and 95% is what they usually say that your value is compared to the sale of the home. The other thing on your property taxes, there are special assessments that are added to your tax statement. We haven't added any special assessments for street work or anything for probably about 8 years now. So those special taxes, those assessments on your billing are from back then. And you can have a choice to come and pay those off. You just have to do it before November 30th, so they're not on your tax statement the next year. So along with on your tax statement, includes tax levies for the county, the city, the school district, and then there's some special tax districts. Northwest Regional Development, ambulance, and watershed. So, sorry this one's small, but we also have data from other years on here. So what I've done is I've taken 5 homes so that we have a snapshot within the average home in there. So the first one is, you can see in 2021 it started at $163,100. In 2024 it went up to $216,700. Now in 25 and 26 the value has gone down. So in home 2 you can see it's gone up and gone down, and I believe this one they actually questioned the value, and so the county actually brought it down in 22 to 23. However, then it went back up again because of sales with the same like property. But if you look from 25 to 26, that property value has gone down. So in home 3, you can see the same kind of scenario here, where it's gone up a little bit every year until 2025, and then in 2026 it's gone down. In home 4, we have the same thing again, and it's gone down in 2026, and the same with home 5. So if you look at the proposed 12%, none of them on there are paying 12% of an increase from last year because the property value went down. So on the columns on the right, we have on there what the difference is for the city taxes from 25 to 26 and what the total tax statement is from 25 to 26. And for property 1, it's $120. And the whole bill is $124. Second home, the increase is $102, but the whole tax statement is only $24. Home 3, the city taxes went up $67, but their tax statement as a whole went down $94. Home 4, it went up $131 for the city, but down $16 for the whole tax statement. And then the same home value, home number 5 went up $259 for the city, but only $164 for the county. And then the last one is a commercial property, and that one has gone up a little bit every year. But the increase is only 6%, not 12%. So this is a statement I think some of you brought in that you got in the mail. So at the top it says your estimated market value. They have on there for 2025 and 2026. And then there's a line for homestead exclusion. So that if this is your main home, the state of Minnesota lets you have a homestead exclusion which I don't know where the break-even point is where they changes, but that homestead exclusion, there's a dollar amount on that until up the value of $400,000. And at $400,000, there is no homestead exclusion. And then it'll get you down to the taxable market value. So then if you go down, it says what kind of tax there is. So Polk County, there's the number for 2025 and then the number for 2026, which you can see went down. And then it has the city, which has gone up a little bit, and then the school district, and then the special taxing. Any questions on that one? And I can look at your own if you want after the meeting here. Okay, so on the back sheet of that proposed tax, these are what the levy information is for other cities and school districts in Polk County. And then it has on there the percentage change from 25 to 2026. Okay, so I put a little data on here just so you have an idea what's happening in the state of Minnesota. So in the state of Minnesota, like I said, the final levy has to be in by December 29th, 2025, and the final levy has to be lower, not higher than the preliminary levy. And then the department will release final property tax levy information to the county in February, and then your property tax statements must be mailed by March 31st. So for 2026, the total local government preliminary property tax levies are proposed to increase 6.9%. And those are split between cities, counties, townships, schools, and special taxing districts. So the actual average for the cities in Minnesota is an 8.7% increase. And this includes the larger cities, you know, in the cities like Bloomington that has a lot of commercial property and all the bigger cities and the smaller cities, but the average is 8.7%. Typically, I know when I've gone to meetings that the cities within the metropolitan area, I mean, they're lucky where they usually don't pay, their increase is never over 7%. But like I said, they also have more commercial property, they probably have more growth than we do, and so the pie gets smaller for everybody. And do I need to explain that? So what happens is they take the whole value, I'll say that in the next slide, sorry. So anyway, at that, right now, our levy as a city is at 12%. Polk County is at 4.5%. And then the townships, we're not talking about them, so I don't have information on them. The schools average for this state is 5.8, but East Grand Forks is at 2.64. And then special taxing districts, the average is 4.6. And for 2026, the Red Lake watershed is up 13%, and the Northwest Regional Development is at 3%. And I believe the most that they can increase is 3% a year. So the final levy will either be set on our December 16th meeting or our December 23rd meeting to meet that deadline of December 29th. So this is just an example I wanted to show you on that tax statement. This is a home at $316,500, and their total property tax was $4,272 for 2025, and this is how it broke down. So as a whole, 51% of the property tax collected as a whole came to the city. 24.48% went to Polk County, 16% went to the school district. There was a voter-approved school district referendum, 4.8, and the smaller ones are to the watershed, the ambulance, and the Northwest Regional Development. So this is property value highlights. So the county has information on how they set the values. So they take all the properties in the county, and then they take the property in the city itself. So the estimated property taxes payable in 2025 was $908 million, where in 2026, it's $922 million. And so for us, the city, and so net improvements for the, within the city on the tax rolls in 2025, it was over $2 million. Now in 2026, it's at $5.7 million. So that explains why some of those property values went down, because of those improvements increase that estimated market value. So what they do is they take the whole amount and then they take your property value, and so it's a piece of the pie as a whole. So if your value went down, you're not paying as much tax because those improvements have helped spread that tax over more properties. When you look at estimated value, taxes payable for residential, it went up from 707 to 708 million. For commercial, it went from 71 million to 74 million. And for industrial, it went from 47 million to 54 million. So that would be the other reason why residential went down, is because commercial and industrial went up. So the value of those properties went up. So the other we have is residential. Those are apartments that have 4 or more units within that building, and those actually went down from 25 to 26. So the average home value in 2025 in the city of East Grand Forks was $271,200. In 2026, that went up to $275,000. And the number of residential, don't know how they got this number, how it went down, but I don't know what they're counting, or if maybe one of the properties moved into a 4+ unit. I'm not sure, but that is the information I received. The other, the average business value for commercial did go up to $542,400. The average industrial went up from $396 million to $456 million. And like I said, the units, 4+ units, did go down. Questions? Okay, now we want to talk about the general fund balance. So as I stated, last year we used the general fund to balance our budget last year of about $478,000. So the Office of the State Auditor recommends that the city carries a fund balance, the general fund, between 35% and 50% of fund operating revenues, or no less than 5 months of operating expenditures. And the reason is that the state wants to make sure that cities are fiscally responsible and that they have the money to cover their expenses. Because our fund balance has been good in the past, our current bond rating is at A3, which helps us when we do bonding, we get a favorable rate on the interest amount. And actually, that's the highest we can get for the size of our community. So we're very fortunate that our fund balance is at. We don't have a lot of debt. And so I just want to make sure you know that. So if you look at, we have audited numbers. In 2024, our fund balance went up because our revenues were more than we expected. We had some taxes that we collected from other years that were in their arrears, and expenses were less than we budgeted. And so our fund balance at the end of 2024 was $8,187,999, or 59% of our budgeted revenues. And if you look, that's why 35% to 50%, and that was the reason why that they took the fund balance to lower the property tax levy in 2025. And then there's just examples of what we had for 2023, 22, and 21. So the hard thing now for year end for 2025 is that a city is buying the Simplot, we call it the Simplot property. It's just east of the Holiday or Circle K there. They have made an agreement with Simplot to buy that property, and then the city is going to buy it. We're buying it out of the general fund because we do not intend on holding it. We intend to sell it as soon as we can for what we paid for. We're not looking to make money, but we can't lose money on it. So we're looking to maybe have one or two interested developers to buy that property. So that will actually bring, yes?
Why? Why spend public funds to pay for a thing that you're just going to change hands? Why not just let a private party buy it? Why are you paying an intermediary?
Go ahead, Reed.
If you may. Yeah, thank you. Good question. Simplot has owned the property since the early 1950s and has used it for no business purpose since the early 2000s. And they have an old family corporate policy that they do not sell property, period. And so in order to spur development of it, they've been telling us for years that they wouldn't sell it and they had no intention of moving it. But we've been working with them for a number of years, negotiating a way to swap property with them. And so that's what we're doing to facilitate the movement and eventually spur development that will grow our tax base on that property. We negotiated a property swap with them. So we bought a property that they were interested in so that we could trade it. And it ended up being nearly a dollar for dollar trade on the land values between the two. So really, after years of work, we felt like really the only way to facilitate getting that property out of Simplot's hands and into the hands of someone that would be interested in developing it for a commercial or a growth of our tax base use. That's why we stepped in to be the intermediate in that.
Any other questions on that? So with that, the estimated year-end fund balance for 2025 will be $6,154,226, or 43% of revenue, or 42% of the expenditures. And that's actually all I have. If there's questions.
Yeah, if there's any questions from the audience, if you'll come up to the podium, just state your name and address. So whoever would like to go first.
Evening. Seth Carr, 2121 8th Street, Southeast. I have no idea how to run a city. Like, I have no idea how to run a town. I can barely run my household. I'm standing here right now because my taxes went up 27.1% this year. So you can see how that's very concerning, because I provided an appraisal for my house, and it was completely ignored. I was told in a very polite way to sit down and shut up. I provided the appraisal, had somebody come out to the house and look at the house, and they said, yeah, we're still just going to say whatever's on Zillow is what your house is worth. So that's very concerning. And then on top of that, you guys are saying we need an extra 12%. I like how many cops I see when I go bring my son to school in the morning. I love the clean streets. I love that there's no snow everywhere and it gets piled up. I love the trash is on time. The deer carcasses, if somebody hits a deer, they're removed immediately. I moved here from North Carolina 3 years ago. I came here for a part-time job. And I told my wife, like, this is where we're moving. This is a great, great place to raise kids. I really love it here. But you can see how my taxes going up 27%, 27.1% in 1 year is very concerning, even though I provided documentation that's saying, this is a professional who does this for a living. This is what my house is worth. And the county just saying, yeah, no, we're gonna go with the Zestimate instead. So my big statement and question to you guys would be, where are the checks and balances? What is stopping the county and the city from saying next year, it's another 27%, till I literally can't afford to pay the taxes on my house? And then, I'm out of here. the house is probably worth way, way less than what you guys say it is, and I can't sell it because nobody else wants to come pay the taxes, and then it just snowballs. So again, the question is, where are the checks and balances? Like, where is my representation here when somebody's just like, we're not going to listen to that. We're just going to do whatever we want. That would be my question to you guys. It seems very, very dangerous for me to like live here right now. Like, what's stopping you from just every year, over and over again? Because even when you provide the documentation, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
Mayor Olsted?
Seth, right, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure what the reasoning is for the county not looking at that or having reassessing it. I guess that'd be something that I would like to find out also, because I've done that personally also, had them come look at my stuff, my house. But I don't, I guess how to address your questions, whether checks and balances. I think everybody that sits up here and on staff does, and the department heads, look at every year what we need to do and what we need to hold back on. I mean, there's many things that we would love to replace a piece of equipment or this we're pushing down the road. There's things that we have employees that the benefits keep raising up because of the health cost insurance. There's other things that go up, the wages go up. And you saw the pie chart with what that is to us.
I feel like that should all be rising equivalent with inflation, and inflation is not 27% this year, last I checked.
I agree with you. That
and again,
stuff should be only raised.
I just bought my house 3 years ago, and now, even though I just bought it and it was on the market for almost a year with no offers, I bought it, they accepted my offer, and I got the appraisal done, but now suddenly all that's out the window, and it's just whatever the county says it's worth is what it's worth, because that's what Zillow says. And I had an appraiser, or I had the assessor come out to the house, walk around the house, and she said, thank you for all your paperwork. I'm just going to stick with whatever Zillow says.
I hope she wouldn't say that, but if you like to, even after the meeting, if you want to have more discussion on it, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you too. So
I would love that. My second point would be, I completely realize costs rise, but 12% is a lot. When I don't have enough money for something, I stop spending money. And again, I have no idea how to run a city, but I do know you don't need to be installing 8-inch, 8-foot wide concrete curbs at a bunch of random intersections if the city's running out of money. Because that's not keeping people safe. It's not doing anything. If you guys said, we just hired 50 extra cops and bought them all new cop cars, I'd be like, all right, whatever. But you're not. You know, you're doing what appears to be some projects that are, by and large, not helping anything. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Carla.
I would suggest we can also give you the name of the commissioner, county commissioner. He actually lives in your neighborhood, because they're the ones who, put the value on it. So we can give you Warren Strandell's name, because he is the county commissioner, and they're the ones in control of that. And it disturbs me that you had an assessment there and they threw it out, because I know I've gotten notes that they want to come into my house and do it and take an assessment. And it wasn't long ago when I had one done, but yes. So I'm surprised that they come in, they showed you that. Yes, I'm that disturbs me. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tim.
I can tell you're not the only one, because I bought a house 10 years ago, and the value went up $35,000 the first year, another $40,000 the next, and I couldn't sell it for that. But there's nothing I could do.
Right. So that's my big question with the checks and balances. Where Where does it, what if they raise it? So they raised it like almost $50,000 this year. What if they do it again next year?
It's like the state telling us they direct mandates towards us, but we have to find the way to pay for them because they won't pay for them. But we're mandated to do it. That costs us a big chunk of money this year. And it keeps going on and on and on. Now the state just told the counties they're going to pay another, each county's due $498 million or whatever dollars that they got to come up with to cover something the state messed up on. Go figure.
Yeah, it is very, very frustrating that no matter where you live in Minnesota, you're basically paying for all the people in Minneapolis to do
exactly
whatever it is they're doing over there. But, all right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Seth.
Yep. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jacob Torgerson out of the 14228 Nate Circle, and I find myself in almost exactly the same position that Seth is. We both moved up here roughly the same time period for a very similar, if not the same job, and are struggling with the same issues with the price of our housing and taxation. I'm not going to beat you guys up about the value of the house. That's not your doing. I get it, but it does weigh into what's going to happen with the taxes that are stemmed from you guys. I can't really say anything that he said better than he's already done it. I absolutely love the town. I love the people. I love the way the town is cared for. It's phenomenal. I couldn't ask for anything better. So the only way I can really present this is a way through presenting a logical fashion is efficacy and ethical behavior. The efficacy piece of this is, as far as I can tell from general census, the town's shrinking. So consistently increasing taxes are going to do nothing but force the town to continue to shrink. And you can only squeeze so much water from a rock. So this problem will only consistently get worse the more you increase taxes because you're going to have fewer people to tax. From an ethical side of it, I'm an avid recreational shooter. I use it professionally. I use it for fun. I'm a hunter. And I would guess there's probably more gun owners in this town than there are, for instance, hockey players. But none of us are asking you guys to open up a publicly funded rifle range because to do so would be unconscionable. And it would be completely immoral and unethical for me to even present that as an idea. When I saw the displays up here, it looked like recreation and culture, I think is essentially what it's called. Here,
yep.
14% of the overall budget. Mm-hmm. Those are non-essential services. The job of local government, well, government in general, is to provide the safety of its citizenry and for essential services. That is an insane amount of money being thrown at something that is not essential. And how much more could we mitigate the actual tax increase we're looking at by reducing that? Now, I get it. People out there who love their hockey, they love their recreation, and I wholeheartedly encourage them to continue to do so at their own expense. There is no reason why 1,000 people should be paying for the hobby of 100 people. There's no way for that to make sense or call it ethical. I had another point that I've not forgotten, unfortunately, but yeah, I think there's ways to save money that I think are, perhaps you've looked at them, but I can't understand how leisure pursuits aren't a thing we can't easily save money on by drawing back on those things. Oh, that's what it was. I was speaking to the mayor before the council meeting started, and he'd mentioned that, and forgive me because it wasn't an in-depth conversation on these topics, but unions, apologies, I'm going to touch a sacred cow here because no one likes to talk about unions. I'm not a big fan of unions in general, but if unions are causing renegotiations to constantly happen and for prices to go up, if there's legislation that says you must use the services of a union, my first recommendation would be challenge that legislation, let's pass new legislation. If there isn't legislation that says that, then stop using unions, because that is an added expense that absolutely is not necessary. Now, you can debate on the efficacy of what we'll get as a product out of it if we don't use unionized workers, but based on my own personal experience, anecdotal as it may be, I'm willing to bet you're going to get a fairly equivalent service for a much, much less expensive price. So my only real recommendation, guys, is let's look at drawing back on things we're selling that are non-essential, because there's a lot of them, or at least enough of them to significantly deteriorate the tax revenue that you're asking of us for this next year. And like Seth said, what stops it from happening the year after that and the year after that? Because these costs are only going to continue to go up. So that's all I got. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
I just want to explain what is in that recreation and culture. So that includes all the parks, that includes the swimming pool, that includes baseball, softball, that includes maintenance of our greenway trails.
Does any of that fall under a category of essential?
Well, the thing was, when this council sat down and looked on what they wanted the community to be like, quality of life was one of the things that they wanted. And, you know, the outdoors, the greenway, walking, biking has to do with quality of life.
No, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. I just by, yep.
People out of the town, which
Right.
is. So it's not an effective strategy.
Right. I just want to explain what is included in there, so you're aware of that.
I think I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I just have one other statement regarding that. In regards to some of the recreation that does happen within the community, youth sports, et cetera, we did a survey, I would say 2 years ago, and the economic impact that those youth sports bring to our community definitely does offset the cost. So it is a checks and balance.
I'd like to see that and done by a second individual as well to make sure that the validity of it.
Yep.
But that's fine. I'm not saying don't have those events. I'm not saying don't have those organizations. I'm saying stop taking my money by force to fund them.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that statement. What I'm just trying to make clear is that there is some positivity that does come out of that, where people don't necessarily look at what it does bring into the community versus what's coming out of my pocket, right? And so, yes, I do respect the fact that it doesn't necessarily benefit you as an individual. It does benefit the community as a whole.
I have 2 small children. It does benefit my children. It benefits the children they play with, which is a phenomenal thing. Again, I'm not recommending we take away these opportunities from the children of the community in general. I'm recommending we find a different way to fund them that is more voluntary rather than tax increases.
Like I said, I just wanted to make it clear that it does provide a benefit to the community as a whole.
Oh, I remember the last thing I was going to mention. The mayor had said and correct me if I misunderstood, but the idea of the 12% tax, we're going to put it there because we can lower it, but we can't increase it. Fair enough. I understand that's the way that the legislation for it works. With all due respect to everybody present, and I'm sure this sentiment is shared by at least a good handful of people in the room, I'm not a huge, don't have a lot of faith in government. Not necessarily trustworthy. It's not an individual hit on any one of you, just government in general, kind of hard to trust. I'd much rather you said, well, let's put it at 8% and then try to work it down so we know it won't get up to 12%. So I think that would be a much easier pill to swallow, because that is a good show of faith, at least to the community, that we are absolutely not going to go to this because we're going to pursue other paths. So I would recommend that as a show of faith to the citizenry.
And I've been here 13 years, and we've never had the levy the same. It's just that at the time, like this year, we didn't know what our expenses were for health insurance. And so just to make sure we didn't go over, that was one of the reasons we're at 12%.
Any more questions? No, good. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Anybody else like to speak to the truth in taxation? Okay. If you'll state your name and address, please, sir.
Troy Cermak, and it's 2119 12th Avenue Northwest. I live in a twin home, and there's twin homes on the whole block. And last year, one sold for $304,900, and one sold for $240,000. So now they assessed all of them at the high value, the $305,900. Now my problem is there's good people that live in these twin homes that most of them are older, that are on a fixed budget. So they're paying probably $40,000 more value on their taxes than their home is worth when they sell it. So I'm figuring that's $75 a month these people are fixed income are paying. Now these are good people. Now if they can, at some point they're not going to be able to pay this. And the people that you get in there will never be as good as what you got. But what I'm wondering is I think they would have been better off taking the middle of them 2 houses that sold, and then you would be a lot closer on property value.
Thank you. Yes, I don't disagree at all, sir. Mayor Olsted, you have a lot of experience with this. In speaking back with the county,
No,
if you
the
have any
yellow
thoughts.
book. I'm not sure what their theory was behind that. Why would they take that? It should be an average of what your average market value is in that area.
But no, one sold for exactly the amount that they taxed every other one.
Yeah.
But then one sold for $240. So You know, if you would have went in the middle, you'd be about right where you got to be.
I don't disagree
You know.
with you. So.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Jack Gregwire, and I live at 405 Crestwood Court, and I'm retired, have been in business here for 42 years. But what I notice here on my property tax for 26 is my, for the city, I'm just going to talk about the city part. I can kind of understand what Polk County is. But it went from $1,487 and some cents to $1,888.59, and that's about $400 more this year. And it amounts, when you do the math, that's about 27% increase. What's going on?
Can I ask what the value is for the property value, market value on the top right?
It was. It went from 228 to 257. And the county only went up $100, from 25 to 26. But the city of East Grand Forks went up 40.
Can I look at that at the end of the meeting with you?
You sure can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Okay, do we have anyone else here who would like to speak to the Truth in Taxation Forum? Okay, I see none. To close the public. Okay, with that, we'd be seeking a motion to close the public hearing. Moved by Peterson.
Second.
Second by Riepel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Public hearing is now closed on the Truth in Taxation hearing. That'll move us into item number 4, public hearing to consider granting a property tax abatement for the properties that qualify under the new construction housing program. Be seeking a motion to move into public hearing. Moved by Riepel.
Second.
Second by Peterson. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll move into public hearing for the property tax abatement program. Anyone here like to speak to the property tax abatement program? Okay, I see none. With that, I'd be looking for a motion to move out of the public hearing. Moved by Peterson. Second by Riepel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. We are now out of public hearing. With that, we'll move into the consent agenda. This week there is none. We'll acknowledge receipt of reports of officers, boards, and commissions. We have the regular meeting minutes of the Water, Light, Power, and Building Commission for November 5th, 2025. Communications this week, there are none. Old business, there is none. We'll move into item number 6. Consider adopting resolution number 25-12-88, authorizing a tax abatement on the listed properties that qualify under the new home construction program for property taxes paid in 2025 and payable in 2026. Moved by Pakshavinsky.
Second.
Second by Schumacher. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Peterson.
Yes.
Schumacher.
Yes.
Pakshavinsky.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Item number 7, consider approving the agreement for professional services between the City of East Grand Forks and Widseth Smith Knowlton for engineering services from January 2026 through December 2026. Moved by Peterson.
Second.
Second by Riepel. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Peterson.
Yes.
Schumacher.
Yes.
Pakshavinsky.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes. Okay. Motion passes. Item number 8, consider adopting resolution number 25-12-89, accepting and awarding bid package number 1 for facility improvements at the Civic Center.
Move.
Moved by Peterson,
Second.
second by Riepel. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Peterson,
Yes.
Schumacher,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes. Okay, item number 9, motion passes. Item number 9, consider adopting resolution number 25-12-90, accepting and awarding bid package number 1 for facility improvements at the VFW Memorial Arena.
Move.
Moved by Peterson,
Second.
second by Schumacher. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Peterson,
Yes.
Schumacher,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes. Motion passes. We'll move on to claims. Consider authorizing the city administrator to issue payment for accounts payable invoices totaling $183,117.31 and the November 28th payroll. Moved by Peterson, second by Riepel. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Peterson,
Yes.
Schumacher,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to council and staff reports. Mayor Olstad, if you'll start us, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have to bear with me on a few things here. Major thing I have is Mrs. Berg's fourth grade class did a project to write letters to the mayor, so I thought I'd read a few of them. I'm not going to read all of them. I wish I could, but this one here is by Aria. Dear Mayor Olstad, I like to live in East Grand Forks because my neighborhood is peaceful and quiet. Sometimes I wish you could have more Taylor Swift concerts, though. More public schools, more adoption centers, more bakeries, more restaurants, and a museum. The next one is, let's see here. I'll come back to that one. This one's Jola. This one wants a lot, so I hope she's listening. Dear Mayor Olstad, I want a mall, I want an Abercrombie, I want a Lululemon, Forever 21, Nordstrom, Bath & Body Works, Build-A-Bear, Sephora,
Yeah.
and food court. I want Chick-fil-A, Hoodies and Crumpy, and the last one, Starbucks. Oh, and a few more stores and restaurants, Lush, Ulta, Target, Dunkin', a couple other ones in here. But that was pretty good. This one here is Scarlett. So like living in East Grand Forks, it is a nice city. I have 4 ideas. Number 1, indoor skating rink. Number 2, Barnes & Noble. And number 3, comic book store. And number 4, designated areas for animals. And P.S., I would also write everything that my friend Joel wrote, but I already wrote a lot. She covered it there. This one here is Briar. I would like to I'd love to have a zoo in East Grand Forks, so on animals like bears, penguins, goats, pigs, polar bears, and even a sheep, even some seals too. I would really want a hippo too. Could it be a petting zoo, a feeding zoo? Maybe they could be some dogs and wolves in the zoo also. This one here is Easton. I love EGF because everyone's so nice. I wish we had a free pool to go to. I'll go back to the other one there. If I don't pronounce this right, my wife will not be happy with me. She's watching right now. Javier? I know, you're not helping me. He attends South Point Elementary. Loves living in East Grand Forks, but we need a skate park in EGF in the northwest corner of the city. So, and then the last one I saved that I thought was probably the best. It says, Mayor Olsted, City of East Grand Forks. Dear Mayor Olsted, you are the best mayor, and I hope you will stay the mayor forever. P.S. You're the best mayor.
How much you pay him?
That's all I got.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Schumacher.
Thanks to George Weber. Who am I going to swear at in the morning driving to school when he's cleaning the streets at 7:20? But it's not often you have someone put that many years of service in, and it's really cool. And I love to give him grief, and so I hope he does rest. That's all.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Pukshavinsky.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Councilmember Riopel.
Oh, I want to say a lot about that last letter the mayor read, but I'm going to hold back on that. I'd like to say thanks to George, too. I got along with George pretty good the years he reffed and stuff, so hopefully he finds something to do to bide his time. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson.
Yeah, I'll say thank you to George also, but I also want to just make the statement that 12% increase to the city seems really scary and not necessarily something that we want to do, but I also want to thank all of the employees of the city because I do think that they do a great job of trying to keep the costs at a minimum, and they do work really hard to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd just like to take a minute to thank everyone who came to speak to us today during the Truth in Taxation public hearing. It's not easy to come here into this room and speak to this large desk here, and so we just want you to know that you're heard, your comments are respected, and we'll do what we can to make sure everything is the best we can for our citizens here. So we have some challenges ahead of us throughout our budget process. But thank you for the feedback. It means a lot, and we'll continue to do the hard work here to keep our tax levies down. Okay? Mr. Hutton?
Nothing to add tonight?
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Gulstead.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Emery?
I'd like to thank the council for approving our engineering contract for 2026, and want to thank you for installing your trust in me to serve as your city engineer. So look forward to working with you in 2026 and hopefully beyond. So thank you.
At 3 days still, if I can still. Kidding.
All right, thank you. Anything from the department heads? Okay, I see none. With that, we would be looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Peterson.
Second.
Second by Pukshavinsky. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Meeting is closed. Thank you, everyone.